Hello everyone, today we will discuss about lipids. Lipids, these are one of the meganutrients. As we don't have any mechanism in our body that we can prepare lipids, so we have to take lipids in our diet every single day to gain energy. So we can say that these are source of energy. When we take extra amount of lipids, more than our requirement, so these lipids can be stored in our body and they can be used when there is a demand of it, when we need energy. So we can say that lipids are source of storage of energy or source of energy storage. Lipids are the component of cell membrane and they provide structural support. So we can say source of structural support. They provide support to cell to maintain its structure. Let's discuss few types of lipids. First we will discuss about triglycerides. Triglycerides, these are storage molecule. These are storage lipids. They are stored in the cell. If we see the structure, they have one molecule of glycerol which is attached to 3 fatty acids. These fatty acids, these have long tails of hydrocarbon that got a lot of energy. These hydrocarbon tails are hydrophobic, which means they repel water. Because of these hydrocarbon tails that are hydrophobic, lipids, these are insoluble in water. All the fatty acids, they have this structure common: hydroxyl group, oxygen group. This is actually an acid group and this is R group. So this R group is a variable group. It got long hydrocarbon tails and these tails, they are different in different fatty acids. There are actually two types of fatty acids: saturated fatty acids and unsaturated fatty acids. Saturated fatty acids, they don't have any double bond between their carbon atoms. And don't get confused here. This is acid group. This carbon has double bond with oxygen. This is its acid group. So we are talking about long hydrocarbon tails. So in saturated fatty acids, carbon-carbon atoms, they don't have any double bonds. All the carbons, they are saturated, reduced. These are saturated with hydrogen. Or we can say these are balanced with hydrogen. They don't need any double bond between their carbon atoms. On the other hand, unsaturated fatty acids, they have long hydrocarbon tails that at least have one double bond, minimum of one double bond they got to have. So that's why we call it unsaturated. It's not fully saturated with hydrogen. Rest of the atoms will be saturated with hydrogen. So this is the only difference that make saturated and unsaturated different from each other. So they don't have any double bond between their carbon atoms in hydrocarbon tails. They at least have one double bond, but they can have more than one double bond in the hydrocarbon tails. So let's discuss about triglycerides, how they're made. Triglycerides, these are made by condensation reaction. Condensation is a chemical reaction. When two molecules come close together, a new chemical bond is established and a molecule of water is released. So here, triglycerides, they have three condensation reactions. So for example, this is the one molecule of glycerol. And this is one fatty acid. This is second fatty acid. This is third fatty acid. So when these come close, water molecules are released, right? So here in whole process, three water molecules are released. These are three condensation reaction, 1, 2, 3. And when these water molecules are released, now this oxygen is connected with one carbon of the glycerol molecule and other carbon from fatty acid. So same reactions happen here. And this is a special bond in which one oxygen is connected at the same time with the two carbon atoms. We call it as ester bond. This is ester bond number 1, 2, 3. In this whole process we can call it as esterification. So let's discuss about functions of triglycerides. Because triglycerides, these are energy storage molecules, so when the carbon chemical bond breaks, it releases a lot of chemical energy. And because of this, lipids contain about twice as much energy per gram as carbohydrates. And triglycerides, these are present in water as droplets, as insoluble droplets. For example, these are triglyceride molecules. These are their hydrocarbon tails. So these hydrocarbon tails, they face inward towards each other because they don't attract water. So they face inward towards each other and they shield themselves from water molecules with their glycerol heads. So these are glycerol heads. So this is the way lipids are present in the water. They are not dissolved. Let's discuss another type of lipid, that is phospholipid. Phospholipid is quite similar to triglycerides. The only difference they have, unlike triglycerides that have 3 fatty acids connected to one glycerol molecule, in phospholipids the third fatty acid is replaced with phosphate group. Now this phospholipid has clearly 2 parts. this part is hydrophobic. This part is hydrophilic. This doesn't dissolve in water, and this is dissolved in water, or this attract water we can say, and this doesn't attract water. Phospholipids, they actually make bilayer of plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is actually a boundary of a cell. So this plasma membrane is actually a bilayer of phospholipids. If we just take one section from here, so these phospholipids, these have these hydrocarbon tails here, and this is heads, right? So this is one phospholipid layer and this is second phospholipid layer. So plasma membrane is actually a bilayer 1 and 2, and this is arranged in a way that hydrocarbon tails, they face each other, and they shield, these hydrocarbon tails shield themselves from water with their phosphate groups, and these hydrophilic parts, these face toward water on either side. For example, this is the outside, this is the inside of the cell. So on both sides there are heads, hydrophilic heads, right? And here these face towards each other. This is the way the phospholipid is present in the cell membrane. So this hydrophobic part, this doesn't support water-soluble substances. So bilayer, this plasma membrane, got to have some other arrangements for those molecules that are dissolved in the water. For example, some channel proteins. We'll discuss in protein topic. That protein channels, these are there in the plasma membrane that support those water-soluble substances and allow them to enter into the cells. So this is all about lipids and different types of lipids.